The declaration of conflict of interest with Deputy Mayor Cody on number 4B. Approval of the agenda. Mr. Kelly, I'm a little confused. I thought we were adding the public piece of art and the affordable housing on the open agenda. Is there a reason it's not there?
So there's a change in the program. There'll be some financial implications. That's why it's not within the post. After that, council can vote it and they can approve it otherwise.
There will be a public resolution to approve it?
Absolutely, because right now it's only here for discussion.
And the public piece of art?
That is also, that was ended in the closed session, worship, and council wants to open up. That's up to council worship, but that was left in closed session worship.
Right. Councilor Yankoff?
I'm a bit perplexed at why Mr. Johnny said to be in closed session. The last meeting of
Economic development
was in open session.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering why they would be moving that into closed session.
So again, it was left in closed session last time. It was said by the mayor that it would come back to council for further discussion because he did not finish that conversation. Because it was left in closed, after that, if council wants to move it out, that's at their discretion.
Yeah.
So it was in closed session the last time it was discussed?
Here it was, but economic development went into open session.
What are we discussing here? Should be already.
The recommendations is one part of the discussion.
Were you, yeah, you were.
What was that?
The agenda, we're talking about the agenda.
What's that?
Again, your worship, if council wants to put them in the open.
There's Councilor Spitz.
Zoom's all signed,
Yeah, just for you.
We shut it down at committee level
Well,
and
then
went
why
back
did
to
you-
council.
What's that?
Because when we left the closed session we had, it was determined at that point, correct me Peter, that it would be picked up at some other point to finish that discussion. It got brought up,
At economic development in the open session.
shut it down until the process was to follow, come back to council to finish
When
the
we had
discussion.
this issue, council, did not finish the discussion. It was done in the closed session, so it has to be picked up there. If council wants to move it in the open forum.
No, my question I have is, did the Economic Development Committee recommend it comes here? Yes or no? They're dealing with the file.
It was already, the issue was it was already sent to council, so that's where it's still left hanging. It's always sent here. Council did not finish had a conversation. That's why it's back here.
Yeah, well, that's what I said.
But I think, I'm not sure why it's coming here, because they have a resolution that tells them what to do. They keep bringing it up.
That can have council, again, we're open to council's direction. So right now, it's not hanging right now, and that's why it's back here.
Is there a resolution
sure why it's back here.
Is there a resolution coming forward?
Did the Economic Development Committee make a recommendation?
No, because I asked for a point of order
To come back here?
that we shouldn't be discussing it because it's already in the hands of
There's a
council.
resolution passed. We passed a
So
resolution,
why-
tell them what to do.
Yeah, just one second, keep
Right.
going.
So we're here because this is where it should be. It should never have went to economic development, theoretically.
Well, but it falls under that.
It falls under that, yes, but it's already gone by us.
But why would it come here if we've already passed a resolution on what to do?
Probably
That's-
amend
that's
And that's
the,
between them two gentlemen.
yeah, amend the
What two
resolution.
gentlemen?
Peter, and that's, if it's here tonight, it's because one of these you wanted it on.
Yeah. No, it's on here because
We never dealt with it.
we didn't
never
discuss it
finished
at economic development, and the chair said it should go back to council. That's why it's back
We
here.
didn't finish it.
But-
Provided direction of it was to come back to council.
Yeah,
What's the
so,
recommendation of your?
Our committee, I didn't allow it, here, council filed put in a point of order and didn't want any discussion until it got back to council, based on the last conversation that we had with
So it's back in here without a recommendation.
Well, I think that the mayor wants to look at 5 points of recommendation.
The recommendations.
Possible amendments.
I thought they were off the table.
no, Dave.
Well, the other night, during council hall meeting, or we never finished the discussion.
That's right.
Yeah, I think we did. I think we said.
Well,
where it is.
I left.
You left. So I think we
So
said,
I'm not
the
sure if
resolution
it's-
passed, why we keep talking about it? This
Yeah.
keeps surfacing.
Yeah.
And I think it's one person keeps bringing it up.
No, I don't keep bringing it up.
Well, who asked for it to be here tonight?
That's 150 emails I received about people that are concerned about it, and I brought it up at economic development the last meeting, And the chair said, no, it should go back to council, because that was the recommendation from Councillor McLeod.
And I guess
And
what I'm
direction
saying,
from our CAO,
And so-
that we were here.
So hopefully we have a recommendation, resolution to put on the floor.
but we already passed the resolution.
Well, we can amend the resolution from last June.
Okay, I don't plan staying around for it, you guys can talk about all you want. This is the fourth time we've talked, we can't make a decision. So let's move, let's go.
No, just 1 second, hold on. If there's a resolution from the council, right, because it already went through the committee, economic development, and so be it. So we're gonna leave it in the closed session? Is that the wish of council?
I don't know if we wanted to need a closed session. You're supposed to come here to an open meeting, that's what the procedural bylaw says.
Okay, so you want a recommendation from economic
The standing
development?
committee is supposed to, the staff is supposed to do a report, first of all, and then the committee is supposed to forward a recommendation with the report. I don't see either. So I don't even know why it's here.
Because
we dealt with it already.
Councillor McLeod said it should be dealt with here, and Mr. Kelly, the CAO, said, yes, it goes back to here. So if you want to go back to the standing committee, let it go back to the standing committee and get a recommendation.
Well, if I may put words in your mouth, I think you said you had enough of it. It's your fault. Did you not say that?
The last closed meeting, I just said that I'm not
Right.
sure where else we can go as a
Right.
committee, because there's so many different directions and discussions happening that
Right.
It's
I
being
was
undermined.
getting nowhere
Right.
with this public art. So at that point,
Okay.
yeah.
Julie, Councillor Cape, are you finished? Do you want to?
Well, I'm just saying that.
Keep going.
Yeah, like when we left here after the last closed meeting, I didn't feel that there was any real resolution to where, or direction for the staff in the public art, because we knew we were at a standstill as far as the resolution and the direction we were given from the last resolution that was passed in June. We're not able to do anything with that resolution, so I guess that was the question, are we going to just leave it at that? Or are we going to look at what the mayor's been talking with other groups about, which were, and are we looking at, we would like to amend
The
our
resolution.
resolution to consider any of these options.
So again, your worship, if council wishes to bring it on open forum, that's up to council's purview. Again, it was left in closed because council did not finish that discussion. If tonight they want to move it out, obviously that is an option of council worship, but just to be clear, that staff have been working with the department, with the committee, that council made a recommendation, and we are trying to work under that direction. Unfortunately, that has not come to fruition, as there has not been full cooperation, and that's why, as the point is, it has been at a standstill. That is why it's here, for either to leave it as is, or we'll take any other direction council wishes to take.
I'm not sure why it's at a standstill, because the resolution read that the statute stays and that the plaque gets changed to show the history, good or bad.
Right.
So if somebody can't do up a plaque that shows the good or bad, then there's something wrong. 'Cause that's all that's asked for.
We've had that difficulty since
So
last year.
that's pretty easy to put together, should be.
We have been trying to work with historians on that point, and also from the indigenous community. We have not been able to get a group and or an individual to help with that piece. We'll continue, and the mayor has been trying to explore options for people to be involved. Unfortunately, that has not yet to pass. We will continue to explore that, because we want to make sure that whatever we put on plaque, that is correct, accurate, and is representative of those concerns.
Your worship, your worship,
Go ahead, Councillor.
we voted 10 months ago, it went 10-0, and I'm like Councillor Bernard, he sort of took some of the thunder there, but he's, why are we even sort of revisiting this? And to me, it's going to be brought up here every month, unless we put a stop to it right now. It went through 10-0, and someone even asked you, so it was almost 11-0 at that time. So it went through, so let's let it go. I don't think anyone in this room is going to change their vote. If they are, have a vote right now.
Well, if there's a resolution to amend the resolution from last June, put it on the floor to go with the 5 recommendations. 5 recommendations in the packages that we included.
So that was in October 2020, why are we dealing with it 8 months later?
No, October 14th and January 29th. Because we were trying to get the academic community on board with us.
Point of order.
Just let me finish. He asked for clarification. So we've been working with the academic community, and then on the 11th hour, they said, no, We're not going to be involved unless you work with the indigenous groups here in Prince Edward Island. They have refused to work with us because we have 5 recommendations. They want us to go with those 5 recommendations. Councillor Twill, what's your point of order?
My point of order is, we've got 2 items on the agenda for an open session.
Yeah,
We've got.
we know that.
We have a community that's waiting there. Let's proceed
No.
with the 2 items that we have in an open session. Let's get them dealt with. Let's get them dealt with, okay? And then you can go in camera, have a recess, regroup, and then if you want to go back to an open forum, you can go back to an open forum.
Councillor, just to correct you on your point of order, we are discussing number 3, approval of agenda. So the point of order is 2 councillors have said we want the 2 issues on the open agenda. So that's, point of order is overruled. Councillor Vard.
Okay, Your Worship, thank you. So we're sitting here, can't decide to approve an agenda, whether it be open or closed, but yet we're discussing the item
Yeah.
that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I say remove it from the agenda, send it back to the committee, sorry Julie, and come back with a recommendation. If the recommendation from the committee indeed is the 5 things that are set out here, then make that recommendation to council, and then we have something clear cut. Because right now, I'm lost as well. I have no idea what conversations that are taking place behind the scenes. I don't know. And before I make a decision that is going to impact lots of people, I need to be very clear on what direction, what discussions took place. So I'm not comfortable voting on anything tonight. So.
Councillor McCabe, is that all right with you?
I'm fine with that.
Defer it back?
Absolutely. And as long as we can discuss it then, because every time we get into committee, then we're always told we can't discuss it.
Okay.
Are we comfortable with that committee?
Good.
I think he's asking for a recommendation from the committee.
That's all.
Good.
I'm fine with
Councillor
that,
Tyler?
my committee's good.
Councillor Tweed, you all right with that?
Could we be having, just for clarity, Your Worship, send it back by a motion to the committee, please, for recommendation?
I'll move.
Okay. All those in agreement, say, raise your hands, please. To send it back. Those against? To send it back to committee?
What do you, Chair? You go?
Just not to send it back?
No, send it back. Yeah.
Okay. Please just put up your hand if you're in favor of sending it back to committee. Please put your hand up. Okay, those against?
Yeah, I'm against.
Okay, Bobby, Councillor Duran, yea or nay?
Yay.
Yea to send. Okay, so it's 7-2.
Sorry.
And also, Your Worship, if you wish to have the discussion and or debate on the affordable housing strategy, that is also, you wish that in the open forum, we can have that in the open forum as well, Your Worship, if you wish.
Do you want to put that in the open agenda? The affordable, because Councillor Tweel did want to discuss it at economic development. He wanted to move it, or actually, it was actually your committee, was it not?
Yeah.
You said to send it to council for discussion. So do you want it in the open? Yea or nay?
Put it in open.
Open.
What's that?
On the affordable accessible housing issue.
Makes no difference to me.
Yeah. Okay. All in favor? Okay. Against? You for it, Councillor Tweel, or you?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, you're for it. Councillor Duran, yea or nay?
Yay.
Okay. So, Mr. Kelly, everything's in the open agenda. You want to go with the first item?
That's the ICIP ranking, Your Worship. Your Worship, moved by Councillor Ramsey, second by Councillor Howard, whereas the city of whereas Charlottetown City Council is desirous of working collaboratively with both the federal and provincial governments in accessing the various funding streams under the ICIP, and whereas the city needs to ensure clarity of its priorities within those funding streams, therefore it be resolved that the Charlottetown City Council provide both levels of government with its prioritized list as per the attachment. So after the last discussion, Worship, we did go through a few things. We tidied up from what we thought we had heard. So it's here for your ratification. It has to be handed over to the government body and the week, Worship.
So this is the final draft, right, Mr. Kelly?
Correct, Worship.
Yeah. And it has to be in by April 30th, the end of the month.
And so and number 1 is the Simmons Rink Complex. Number 2 is the waterways.
Sure.
Number 3 and 4 tie into the 2023 roundabout and Water Street readjustment from the province, and then the other ones follow thereafter.
Any questions? Councillor Tweed.
The active transportation pathways, that's additional monies, right, under the new program?
We are applying for that, that's correct, that's under number 7.
Number 7, okay. Okay.
Any other questions? Who wants?
Questions called?
Questions called, you remove a seconder? Mr. Remove it?
You already,
You know-
Councillor Ramsey, Councillor Berger.
All those in favor, please raise your hands. Should be easy. Councillor Durant? Okay.
Thanks, Richard.
Next item, sir. Deputy Mayor Cody, is it?
This is the one I'm confident of.
Yeah, so he has to remove himself.
And Your Worship, just put this on the floor prior to discussion. Moved by Councillor Duffy, second by Councillor Cade, that the request to amend Appendix G, zoning map of the zoning and development bylaw for Venus Drive, Lot 40, PID 419143, from the single detached residential large.
Can I, point of order, Your Worship?
Yes, sir, you go right ahead.
I'm not sure what the resolution is for. I thought that it was going back to a public meeting. And the public meeting, so this, we wouldn't be voting on it until we hear back from the public meeting. I was led to bless from the last time we talked, this going to the public again. The Province was supposed to do their presentation similar to us, and then this would happen.
Yeah.
To get some feedback. I think we kind of got the cart ahead of the horse here, do we not?
As I understand it, this will send it back to the Public Process Council.
This will?
Yes.
So we're-
It's wish to have, maybe the manager, just to clarify that, Your Worship.
Yield to Mr. Forbes.
Yes, please.
Mr. Forbes.
I thought Mr. Hooley would be here this evening, but I hate filling his shoes, but I will attempt to. So I think the way that, as you know, on the resolution that was taken for Angus Drive previously, it was to reject the staff by the planning board recommendation. But the next resolution wasn't read. So what you're going to do this evening is you're going to deal with that resolution that would have said that you were going to reject the application for Angus Drive, which would have been, should have happened at the last meeting. But if you don't want to do that, then you defeat that motion, then Mr. Kelly will read the next motion, which will be to go to a public hearing.
So if I understand it right, then what we're doing is
Rejecting it.
what we did last Monday night, or the last council night, we're rejecting that resolution, so we can go to another public meeting.
Well,
Because there was one, you said there was one section that we should have done that we didn't do.
So what happens is when a resolution comes through to council from the planning board and staff
Yeah.
to go in one direction,
Yeah.
you usually defeat that motion, but then you need to do the opposite motion separately. The opposite
Oh,
motion.
yes.
So what
yes.
you're gonna be presented with the opposite motion this evening. And if you wanted to complete that process, that's the way to do it. But if you don't want to complete it, you would rejecting the application, and then you move to the next motion, which is to go back out to a public meeting for the new information from the file.
So, Councillor Vert,
Yes.
as you remember back in 2015 when this issue came up,
Yeah.
it was 9-0 to defeat the resolution.
Yeah.
Then there was another resolution that was submitted to reject the rezoning, and it was passed by 9-0. So what we missed was rejecting the resolution. Now, that was negligence. I think we just didn't catch it, so here we are. So we have to reject the resolution.
But just keep in
Councillor,
mind,
go ahead.
well, just be careful, Your Worship, because of recent information. You can complete the process to reject it entirely.
Yeah.
But what you're trying to do is reject. You're not going to reject it. You're then going to defeat that motion to reject, and then you're going to move to the next motion. So just got to be very careful with that.
But, Alex,
Yeah.
that's up to council.
That is, but I'm just. I just didn't want to confuse.
No.
We're too late.
This was defeated.
Right.
Now it's to reject it, like you
Right.
did back in 2015. Councillor Rivera,
So do we have another application in from,
the applicant
yes?
for reconsideration.
Yeah, are we doing this based on what we heard? Because I don't know if we have another application, do we?
We don't have another application. This would be a decision. This is not a reconsideration necessarily as defined in the zoning bylaw. This is a reconsideration of council.
which council can reconsider any decision.
I know, but I'm, Your Worship, but I don't want to go back to the public meeting if we don't have a new application in with some of the stuff we talked about. I think it's kind of, I don't think that's right, because again, we heard something where the public hadn't.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we're going to vote on something tonight without another application in place. It just, there seems to be something incomplete here.
So we can reject, and then we can wait for the applicant.
But why reject it? Why not just wait for the applicant, then do this?
But you have to reject this.
Because we were supposed
This
to
was
reject
defeated,
last
so then you have to reject it.
So you're finishing the process from the last.
Correct.
Right.
That's all we're doing, is finish and so the rejection means that council agreed with what they defeated.
Right.
And now it's up to the applicant to submit a request to reconsider.
But that's why, again, I would prefer Mr. Hooley is
Yeah,
here.
well, he's not here.
The reality is that this, if you don't want to finish the process, to reject it, and then you defeat that and say, we're not going to reject it, you just leave, and then you move to the next motion, which says that you're going to go back out to a public hearing, it's a different type of reconsideration process.
Yeah.
So the applicant doesn't have to participate. It's all, council's above that, and they're looking at this from a public safety point of view, so it's a little bit of a different process. And the next resolution articulates the process that would be followed if you decide not to finish the process that you did previously by rejecting the whole project.
Okay, Councillor Twill and then Councillor McCabe.
Okay, so the question becomes, the last time when we dealt with it, and it was an 8-1 vote, the applicant was the property owner on Angus Drive. That would have been the owner of Nels. So he put an application in, changed 3 properties, right? Zoning, two, and a lot consolidation.
Correct.
So council, at the time, made a conscientious decision on an 8-1 vote and said no, right? And then for some reason, some strange reason, we didn't finish the process, right? Didn't finish the process. Mayor talks about negligence. I don't know who he's referring to, but
Are you referring to something there, Councillor Twill?
what you say, negligence?
Yeah,
Who are you
well-
referring to?
Well,
Who are you referring to, sir?
CAO is responsible, as he
No, blame the
knows.
CAO.
Did I say that?
Come on, guys,
Can
move
I-
along.
can I-
So I'm not finished.
Finish your point.
So my friend,
Please.
okay, what?
Finish your point.
Well, I'm trying to finish it.
Instead of
You're
going
interrupting me.
off
So,
track.
no, I'm not off track. I'm trying to understand what we're doing here.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
So, okay. So, the question I have is, Mr. Forbes, so
I know.
are we talking about the same applicant? Is it a new applicant? Is it a new player, new kid on the block? Who are we referring to, and who inspired us to even consider going to another public meeting?
That is entirely up to council, your worship. And again, the applicant is out of this. This is in your domain. If you want to do the secondary process, that's up to you to hear the new information that from the province. But you don't, it's up to you folks. The applicant does not have to participate in this. They're aware that something may occur tonight, but it's entirely up to council as to how they wish to pursue it.
Councillor McCabe, then Councillor McLeod.
Yeah, thank you, and it's no disrespect when I say this, but it's interesting how there's these loopholes to navigate through these systems when we would spend a lot of time on a trainer drive application that was so reconsideration, and here we are now, we have this other way that we can reconsider, and I think, like Councillor Twill said, we did not finish the process, and the process if we had had that read, I'm assuming that it would have been still an 8-1 resolution to reject this application. There's 119 signatures of people that do not want this process reconsidered from all over East Royalty. Do I think there's been new information stuff? Yeah, but we do have a process in place, and reprocess we have in place this reconsideration process, which would mean that the applicant would have to be the person to come back and follow the process that we have in place. Pardon me?
Is it the applicant?
No. But basically, to Councillor Twill, if we don't reject this resolution, that gives us the loophole to go in at it a different way with the new information we heard. But that's not what the residents want, and that's not a fair process, or transparent, in my
To
opinion.
clarify, Councillor McCabe, the rejection is part of the process. That's what we missed
Correct,
last
but if we don't reject it, then we've been not transparent in the process, in my opinion.
Yeah, Councillor McLeod.
Thank you. So we started the process, right? And then before we get to finish it, the government approaches the Public Works Department and says, there's information that evidently has been missed, that there are safety concerns with doing the roundabout without the alternate route off on Angus. That's why it come back here, right? There's safety concerns about the roundabout, okay? So where we go from here, I don't know, but all I know is that that's why it came back here, is because there are safety concerns, and the province has kind of made it quite clear that they can't work without it. Now, what council wants to do with that information, that's what we're here tonight for.
Councillor Duffy.
Thank you, Richard.
Councillor.
Your Worship, as I see it, the objective here tonight, I believe, is to finish off the process of our last public meeting of council.
Correct.
That's step one. Step two is for, as Mr. Forbes has indicated, there is another avenue to change a previous decision of council, and that is a reconsideration at the request or on the volition of council itself. Is that right, Mr.
That
Forbes?
is correct.
And it's that
Yeah.
secondary avenue we're taking, so that to say that, you know, this is a loophole or whatever, no, it's right there in our legislation that this is one avenue you can follow, and that's what Mr. Forbes. So is to say that it's crooked or it's not right. No, I didn't say, you refer to you, Councilor McCabe, but I'm just saying there's a legal secondary route one can take, and that's what Mr. Forbes is referring to.
So, Councillor, are you referring to section 126 of the MGA?
That's what it is, I am.
Yeah, but I thought that was more for municipalities that didn't have bylaws or zoning development bylaws. They would exercise that option.
You know, that was the approach that was articulated by Mr. Hooley.
Yeah.
And because Mr. Hooley was asked, if you want to do this, this is the only way to do it. So
But that's more for municipalities that don't have zoning development bylaws. Where they
That allows council to reconsider any motion of council.
But we have a reconsideration process in our zoning development bylaw under section 3.15.
That's correct, Richard.
Councillor
This is related to all motions.
Okay, go ahead.
So, Your Worship, let me understand this. So, okay, so tonight, you're gonna read a resolution that's gonna be in a positive, okay, vote, right? In a sense, positive manner. We didn't complete the process. Last time, the recommendation was to approve. We rejected the approval. You need now to get the approval and the rejection, right? Yeah, but what happens now? If council decides to change their mind in that vote,
Right.
then technically, we're approving the initial application that came in, which was to accept.
But that's what I was alluding to the mayor. You gotta be careful with that second resolution. We do not want to approve that to deny.
So,
If that's what you want to do, that's up to you folks.
but again, my concern, Your Worship, is the fact that, and Councilor McCabe is absolutely right. If this was voted on the night that it should have been voted on, it would have been 8-1.
Again.
Now,
Again,
the province was allowed to present to council, which potentially alters council's decision on this in between the votes. So instead of finishing the process and rejecting it the proper way, now there's that window that's opened up that allows for council to change their mind on the vote, which never should happen. So from a legality standpoint, I'm a real cautious on this, if this doesn't go.
But in terms of process, we can reject it.
I know, but it should technically be the same vote as the last time.
Councillor Bernard.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think Councillor Vard is correct. I mean, last council night, when it was 8-1, was based on the information we had in front of us.
Correct.
Province came in and laid new information down, which we didn't know about. So I was left with the impression that there was going to be another public meeting. This information, they would present this information to the public, and then we will receive feedback, and then council can make a decision. But you know, that information was pretty important information that we need to have when we made the first decision. So now I understand what Alex is saying, is that so to continue on with the first process is to reject the first resolution.
not the first one, the second one. Just, you won't complete that process, and then you'll move to the new process, which it's the next resolution outlining the public hearing process.
You're right. I know what
But-
Councilor
but,
Bernard said.
yeah.
You're right. It's not, it's the first resolution that was read.
Yeah.
The resolution, Councilor Bernard, said to accept.
Right.
Okay, and staff recommendation was to approve.
Right.
We reject it. That was the first one.
Yeah.
Technically, this is the second,
Yeah.
which has to end
To
in a positive
reject.
manner, which is to reject the project altogether. Then that's closed. But going back to Councilor McCabe, it should be A1.
Yeah.
Technically,
Yeah.
based on the first vote.
It would have been.
And then revisit.
And it would have-
Yeah, but I guess the question that
The same application would have to be considered, the rezoning for commercial.
Well, a new application.
Right, well, that would be if the applicant comes forward with a new application, but that's not what's happening in this situation.
No,
So-
but my
No, no,
concern
no.
is just so I can finish.
Yeah, go right ahead, you had the floor.
Just so I can finish. So where I'm not clear is to finish the process from the last public council meeting on the rejection.
Right.
But yet we want to go to the public meeting to present this new information because it is very important and the public should hear it. So are we creating ourselves a problem by rejecting from last month? We didn't have all the information and then going to the next resolution.
Well, that's what I'm trying to indicate. You're being, if you wanted to complete the process the way you started it, you don't want to do that this evening. You want to decline finishing the process by rejecting the application. So you're going to defeat that motion.
Right.
And then you're going to read the next motion. Again, David's not here, but I think to Councillor Rivard's point of view, it's just that previous resolution isn't necessarily impacting this new process, but it's out there hanging. There's an appeal or something
Yeah.
on it. That needs to be tidied up one way or the other.
Right.
So it provides a bridge, if you want, to go to the next resolution to set out for the public hearing.
But Alex, we can reject this resolution.
Yes.
And then the applicant can submit submit a correspondence to reconsider under section 3.15, correct?
But again.
Yes or no?
Yes, but
Okay.
I'm being told, I'm just the middleman here,
Yeah.
folks, but the province is indicating they've got a tender out, if they don't know fairly soon, like I mean soon,
Yeah.
that they're not gonna proceed, and they want this feedback as quickly as possible from the city on this issue, but again, that's up to you folks.
Okay, Councillor Twill and Councillor McKay.
I think we deal with the resolution, which should have been dealt with at the last council meeting. I think we take a vote on that, because we can speculate and we can look at a number of hypothetical situations, but until we do that, we're not going to be any further ahead. So with that in mind, I think we need to complete that part of the process, because if we don't, we're going to leave ourselves wide open from a liability perspective. So before we can entertain another resolution, we've got to complete the process on planning resolution 1A.
Yeah, I think that's what he said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Councillor
So let's-
McKay.
And I
Councillor
just
McKay.
want to say, and as far as I'm concerned, the province, and again, no disrespect, but this information should have been presented at the first meeting. I mean, it wasn't that much difference information other than the facts. So again, we would have voted this down.
Okay, so,
Okay, questions on the floor?
yeah,
No, not Commissioner, we have not finished reading the motion yet.
Oh, yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that, you ready to read the resolution to reject? You're going to read the resolution to reject?
Mr. Bishop,
Yeah.
moved by Councillor Duffy, second by Councillor Cave, that the request to amend Appendix G, the zoning map of the zoning and development bylaw for Amos Drive, Lot 40, PID 419143, from single detached and a residential zone to the mixed-use corridor zone, and 413 St. Peter's Road, PID 419135, from low-density residential zone, R2 zone, to the mixed-use corridor MUC zone, and to amend Appendix A, future land use map of the official plan for Angus Drive, Lot 40, PID 419143, and 413 St. Peter's Road, PID 419135, from the Chore neighborhood to Village Center Commercial, and further to consolidate Angus Drive, Lot 40, PID 419143, and 413 St. Peter's Road, PID 419135, and 419 St. Peter's Road, PID 192187, in order to facilitate road upgrades by the province to St. Peter's Road and construct a second means of access for the convenience store to and from Amos Drive be rejected, Your Worship.
Okay, so all of you have the resolution in your package. Motion's on the floor.
Questions called?
Questions called. Okay. All those in favor to reject the resolution?
To reject,
To support the resolution that was passed at our regular monthly meeting in April.
so this will be to support the resolution
No,
that we
it
passed.
rejects it. It says to be rejected.
Yeah.
To approve it is to reject the project.
So you want to
As
approve,
presented.
you want to approve the resolution because the resolution says to
reject.
reject.
Right.
So you're approving a rejection.
Councillor Twill?
Yeah, I just want to be consistent.
Yeah,
That's
I
all.
understand, I understand.
So,
Yes, there you go.
So-
So, just to be clear, if you reject this, the next one will not happen. The next
Right.
motion will not
Okay.
happen. Right.
So,
And-
215,
What do you mean the next one will not happen?
Well, it's going to be rejected, and that's it. There'll be no public meeting, there'll be no, nothing. So that's my,
but that's if the applicant asks for reconsideration. Okay?
Yeah, Your Worship, before we vote, just to clarify, if the new applicant comes in with an application,
To-
which was
to-
discussed last time, and planning staff feel that it's different from that much, then it would come back to council.
I'm just, that's it. Fine,
We're-
folks, but-
I'm saying that's up to the applicant.
So, Councillor Twill, just to give you a little history, 215, 9-0 approved the rejection. They approved it. Okay? All those in favor for the rejection, please put up your hand. Look, my place is falling apart.
Your worship, is that different now, Alex, that you have, since you came in the door tonight? Is that change the water in the beans, so to speak?
Well, if you decide to reject, it's over. There'll be no public meeting, and I'm just the middleman. I'm caught in between the province on a timeline. I suspect if you reject, that the province is moving on. I hate to say that on behalf
So
of
if
the
you
province.
reject this resolution, we're not moving on?
That's right, exactly.
But,
Wait a minute,
no,
can't do that.
hold
No,
on,
that's
hold
not.
on.
That's why we have to have this public meeting. That's
Yeah, we
pretty
need-
important, but we're
Right,
talking,
like
you're talking
what you're
safety.
doing is you're on that old resolution, and so you overturn the staff recommendation and planning board to approve. Then that next motion is to reject the proposal. If you reject it, then the door closes, it's finished, it's over.
No, okay, we don't want.
So this is not going to make,
There'll be no public meeting.
This is not going to make Steve and Yo happy.
That's correct, I mean,
Okay.
so what you need to do is you need to defeat that motion.
Councillor Duffy, the applicant can ask for reconsideration under section 3.15.
But council can also on its own
Well,
volition
but
ask
that's,
for reconsideration, correct?
this process we're following is already in our bylaw. Councillor Roberta.
So, Your Worship, again, we have no application in from
The applicant.
This is the applicant, right, after this is done. So, again, my fear is that if we reverse the vote now and set it up for a public meeting, we're going back with the same information that we had when we made our first vote. By killing this at this stage, the applicant still has the right to come in with the zoning changes that we had talked about, okay, to get this to a public meeting if the council so wishes. But that's where we're at. Right now, if we reverse this, okay, and go to a public meeting, we're going to the public meeting with all the same information that we did, except the province is going to offer more to the residents, but it's still talking about rezoning of a commercial property. We talked about the rezoning being potentially parking or something else, but we don't have an application in for that.
Your Worship, if I can provide some clarity.
Please.
If you go to the public meeting, if you decide to go to the public meeting, and I did discuss this with David, if the council decides they want to rezone those lands from commercial to parking, that is within your purview to do that. So that door has not closed. And again, I'm just the messenger here, but in regard to a future reconsideration, the province is articulating to me, I hate speaking for other people, but I don't think no one's going to be asking for a reconsideration. They're going to make a decision based upon what happens tonight.
Yep, that's how it goes between different levels of government. Just 1 second, Councillor McCabe.
It's just interesting, because if we had been given the right direction and followed this last week, it was 8-1. So I just want to remind you that it was an 8-1 vote.
Yeah.
And had we followed the process, it would still be 8-1 and it would be done.
But
Your Worship, I still think that the process that was going to follow could have followed anyways. It's just that there was some tidy up on that that resolution that was hanging there.
So how could it not follow this time, if it could have followed if we had closed it last time?
It's just a matter of you're sort of, you can't move to the next part till you finish the last part. Does that make any sense?
But have we closed last time?
That's right.
That we would be closed.
Right, but you could still initiate the process.
We can make it easier for them right now if we go this way.
Again, I mean, that's.
Okay, Councilor McLeod.
All I'm saying is that there's new information came to light. And I think it's important that council deals with that. Whether or not 8-1, 10-1, 51, it doesn't matter what the vote is. The point is, procedurally, we've got new information. So,
That's what changed everything.
right, that's what's changed things,
it.
and we need to make sure whatever we do here tonight, we allow, the residents should hear these changes.
Yeah.
Whatever way we vote doesn't matter right now. What matters is that there's new information came to light.
Yes.
And we need to make sure that the public knows about it.
Yeah, it does matter because we're rejecting what we voted on
Well,
at our
that's-
April meeting.
that's right.
So,
But if we do that, your worship, I'm sorry. Mr. Forbes says that kills going
No,
to a
but they
public
go through a
meeting. Anything that kills going to a public meeting is not what this council, I think, in my own mind, desires.
no,
That's
but
right.
a reconsideration would allow that.
Well,
It's just a longer
Mr.
process.
Forbes doesn't seem to agree with
Well,
you.
no, we had a reconsideration for 18 Trainer Street and we had public input.
Folks, it's not me. I mean, Mr. Hooley was asked to indicate, because of the timeline for the province. This is about contracts that are let, and they need to know before they pull the contracts. So that's why there was pressure on the process to fast track it. Mr. Hooley articulated, you have the ability, and he laid it out as to how you can do that. It's in your package. And so, again, I mean, the reconsideration process in the zoning bylaw was discussed with the two parties, and their feeling is that it's too long, and they will make their decisions based upon your decisions. So,
But what I'm sorry, Your Worship, what Mr.
Go ahead.
Kelly had read there,
Right.
what is the proper response for a councillor who wishes to have a second public meeting coming up? What is the response?
It's rejected.
It's to not approve that resolution.
Not reject it, that's what he
To
said.
reject it?
That's right, exactly.
Okay, no, not
Vote
to be
against
there.
the motion.
No, to reject it?
Well, it's
It says reject it.
Vote against the motion.
Vote against that?
Or
It
against the motion.
says to reject.
If you want the public
We
hearing,
wanna say-
the chance for public speak, then you would vote opposed to the motion.
Councilor
Opposed to
Yankoff.
the motion.
Yeah, Councilor Yankoff.
Thank you. So when Mr. Hooley was here, the night the province came in and provided counsel in a closed session with new information, Mr. Hooley did not know that we had not finished the process. And the direction that he gave us was based on that we had finished this entire process. So how come we can't just finish the process, which should be an 8-1 vote? And if Mr. Hooley was here, as Mr. Forbes has said so many times, he would be here to be able to say, because he didn't know that. This is the first time we're hearing that we dropped the ball and forgot something.
Excuse me, Mr. Hooley mentioned that.
Forget it.
Yeah, but Alex has something to say.
Right, Mr. Hooley he was aware of that issue, which is, again, was in the report and we're finishing the process, so.
Councilor
Again,
Yankoff, could you please finish?
Right, thank you, all right? All right, thank you. So all I'm saying is, would we not proceed with finishing the process? And before we can go on to the next step, maybe we need Mr. Hooley back.
So defer it until we get him here.
Defer it, finish up this part of it.
let's finish it.
Finish up this part, because this was what we
The
should have done.
resolution that's on the floor now.
This
Good
was what we
point.
should have done at our meeting of council
In April.
in April 1st, yeah.
Yeah, but I think I think you should know that what we've been told tonight is if we finish that process, then we can't have the public meeting that we need to have right away.
Well, we can.
We can, under
Okay.
reconsideration.
Once we get a new application.
But.
No, that's not what he's saying.
That's
The
not what
problem
he's
is
saying.
saying. Technically, yes, under our process, yes, you can. What he's saying is the province has got a timeline, and they can't wait very long, because they got tenders if they got to cancel.
And this process that's defined there this evening was put in there to compress the timelines on this, which was new to us, in order to meet the province's decision-making in regard to, are they going to build that roundabout or not? And there was a very express timeline issued to the city as to when we needed to get back to them. I think that the public meeting would be like May 5th or sometime pretty soon.
So I just to move.
Yeah, just one second. He was finishing his question.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead with your supplementary
So
question.
here's the issue I have. So the province errs in their public meeting and doesn't present all the information. The only loophole here is because we didn't finish our small piece that we needed to finish. And the province is, and we're using that as an opportunity to get back in, to reconsider, go back to a public meeting. But again, the province is the one who dropped the ball. And yet now the province is putting us in a corner and saying you have 3 weeks or we're going to pull the project up. And here's the additional information. Listen, I don't like it. We're putting the residents in a really tough spot.
Good point.
And for me, because we messed up, we've given them a loophole, but yet we're good.
Let's close.
I just don't like it.
Yeah. Councillor Tweel and Councillor Bernard.
I think when you look at the completion of the process and what we've learned here just in the last few days, this community is adamantly opposed to any entrance and any exit on Angus Drive, okay, regardless of what happens, whether it's a roundabout, whether it's a freeway, whatever you want to call it. It's crystal clear that the community are saying, we've been to council on a number of occasions over the years, okay? We've made it clear. We don't know how many times we got to keep coming back and telling council at public meetings, sending emails, making phone calls, we are not interested in any resolution that's passed by city council that legitimizes or validates an entrance and exit onto Angus Drive. That is clear. If the province wants to go ahead and put in a roundabout, construct a roundabout, and kind of an island up St. Peter's Road, then that's their jurisdiction. Go ahead and do it. We, in fact, the residents have not indicated that they lobbied for a roundabout because they haven't. See, the roundabout is a means to an end. The roundabout comes in, then, well, if we're going to put the roundabout in, then we need the entrance and exit onto Angus Drive. And the folks that live on Angus Drive, some of them for 47 years, are saying, this is going to alter our quality of life. We feel quite strongly that it's going to devalue our property. It's going to put more traffic on the street. And when we talk about a safety issue on St. Peter's Road, now you're going to divert that safety issue onto Angus Drive. That entire community, regardless of where you live, 4 or 5 block radius, no one is on side. No one's on side. So I think it's very unfortunate that the residents have to keep coming back, going door to door with petitions, phoning one another saying, what's going on at City Hall? Like, how many times do we have to tell them? Regardless if it's new information, old information, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. They don't want an entrance and exit onto Angus Drive. It's black and white.
Thank you, Councillor Tweed.
Okay, it's black and white, Your Worship.
Yep.
So why don't we put this to rest and let these people go back to their daily lives and let them enjoy the same peace and tranquility that they had for the last 50 years. Yep. Why do we got to keep putting them through this torture? I have no idea.
Councillor Tweel, the reason that we're into this discussion because you had some confusion about what the rejection meant. So now we're going through the whole debate.
That's why I don't like it.
Councillor McLeod.
Thank you very much. I agree with about 90% of what you had to say. There's the question of, besides what the government's saying is changing, but what is being said is that Angus Drive, unfortunately, is going to change because of the development that's happening around them. Right? I mean, that's all being developed. So all I'm saying is that, without having some proper infrastructure onto that street, it's going to get busy whether we like it or whether we not. So I'm just saying, let's make sure. And the other thing, I just want to make sure that everybody is clear. Those that want a roundabout, those that don't want a roundabout. If we don't at least explore and tell everybody about the information that was given to us, then we're not doing our jobs.
Okay, thank
Right?
you, Councillor McLeod.
Like, for example, just one more thing.
Sure.
What about the school? Are they going to be happy with if there isn't a roundabout?
School?
What, Lucy Ma?
Well, I'll tell you what. What
I'm just saying, I'm
no,
just
no.
saying,
Okay, let's-
these are things.
I understand that.
Whoa. Councillor
I'm
McLeod,
not against you.
No.
just, is that it? Is that it?
Let me answer.
No.
I want to
But
answer.
we have others that want to speak. Councillor Bernard and then Councillor
Let's
Duffy.
just be clear.
Yeah, that's why I think it's important it goes to a public meeting. Everybody will have to say again, we'll see what everybody thinks. But what's missing here is we're focusing on Angus Drive when the focus now becomes St. Peter's Road. And it also becomes what Councilor McCall was talking about, McWilliams Road, roundabout, 4-lane highway, whether it's 4 lane, whether it's 2 lanes. The whole plan that we put in place was to create safety. There's 20 to 30,000 vehicles a day traveling on St. Peter's Road, and we all know that will increase. It increases every year. So I think what the public needs to hear is what the province presented to us. And we're not doing our due diligence. If we just move ahead and don't have that public meeting, don't let them know the impacts. And then these improvements, and I disagree with you, I don't know. I would think that the residents of East Road would want to have St. Peter's Road safer. So I think the meeting has to go ahead to let the residents of East Road decide what the province wants to do. That's what I think.
Yeah, no, Councillor Quill, just,
fine.
no,
Let me finish.
He's not finished, then we have Councillor Duffy and then Councillor
We
McKay.
do know that St. Peter's Road is at capacity or beyond now. They know that. And that's why these plans were put in place. So, from the presentation the other night, we have had new information. They also talked about some possible options on Angus Drive. I think that the residents need to hear what the province has to say before we go ahead and make a decision. And I think that's really important because it's more than one issue now. We're talking about the safety issues of all of East Road, St. Peter's Road, from the beginning right into town.
Yeah.
But especially the St. Peter's Road with this project, is that they're talking about this project from Greenwood Drive down to Oakland Drive. So they need answers, and we're asking for a public meeting to let the residents hear all the information, and then we'll get the feedback, and then we can vote. But I think the facts have to be out there as opposed to just plunging this into the ground like nothing's ever happened. There's new information that we know about, as Councilor Rivard said, that the public doesn't. And that has to be out there because at the end of the day, somebody's going to say, you made that decision and we never gave us the information, you kept it quiet.
Okay. Thank you.
So for me, as what McLeod says and as Rivard, yeah, I believe we have to go to a public meeting, put all the information out there, get the feedback, because back here and we make a decision.
Councillor
That's
Duffy.
all.
Councillor Duffy and then Councillor McKay. Thank you,
Thank you,
Councillor
Worship.
McKay.
I agree with what Councillor Bernard has said. We have Mr. Forbes here tonight, and it's unfair to Mr. Forbes to be asked legal questions and all that razzmatazz, and he's done a great job, but I don't think it's fair to him to be peppering with that sort of thing. So with that in mind, and in knowing that we meet tomorrow night as a council at West Royalty for another public meeting, I would like to move a friendly amendment to a resolution to defer this till Mr. Hooley is here. This is too important a decision to make on what we think Mr. Hooley thinks. I think tomorrow evening, if we could meet maybe at 6:15, that would give us 45 minutes out there.
Can't do it. Have to do it Wednesday. It has to be Wednesday.
To hear from Mr. Hooley.
I know, but it'd have to be Wednesday. Couldn't be Tuesday.
Well, Wednesday, I mean, what's 48 hours?
Well, that's fine.
Very-
I'll second that. I think it makes sense.
So, Councillor Duffy, are you moving a deferral?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'll
So he's
second.
moving a deferral, seconded by who? Okay. Now, Councillor McCabe, do you want to speak to the
I do
deferral?
on the deferral, in the sense of you're moving this deferral
Okay.
on us voting to reject what we were supposed to finish the other night until we, and I guess, and I'm with you, Councillor Tweel, I agree and I support 100% what you said. I know the residents don't want an exit onto Angus Drive no matter what. I guess there are some residents that are concerned with the roundabout project for sure. And if we defer this motion, does that give a little flexibility and maybe have a public meeting? Can you have a public meeting if you defer this?
it's going to complicate that public meeting.
Well, you know what, Alex?
Yeah.
They complicate it when they didn't come prepared.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe our residents have to go back and put pressure on their
I think-
LLAs
well, hold
and
on.
everybody.
Just one
Just
second.
I think all he's asking for is defer till Wednesday when the
Yeah.
lawyer is here.
Yeah, just, that's,
So we can
that's,
get our
what-
facts.
the resolution on the floor is to defer it until we have legal counsel in a public meeting, not a closed session, correct?
Sure. Whatever this is right here, we're in.
This is a public meeting.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is too important.
so Councillor Byrd and then Councillor Twill.
Thank you, Rich. I just wanted to touch just to Councilor Bernard's comment. So when we had a meeting, try to get this right, yeah, I did say that going back to a public meeting on a new application would be right on a new one. But in this case, Councilor Bernard, we're talking closing one and then going. So again, I don't support this one being open still. I support this one being closed.
Yeah.
And then if the province decides to come in or the applicant decides to come in with a new application, then council can view it at that time. But I'm not in support right now
Of deferring.
of not closing
Yeah, and
this resolution, that's all.
And I think my understanding of it, Councillor, is, but if you close it, then the other projects don't happen on St. Peter's Road, is what I'm getting.
I understand that part.
Yeah.
So basically, what we're saying is, that so if you close it, you're closing out any improvements on St. Peter's Road.
But Councillor Bernard, we
That's
have,
what I understand.
I know, but we have a reconsideration process that's in our bylaws that we applied to 18
No, I know
Trainer
that.
Street, and we had another
This
public
has nothing to
meeting.
do with the deferment.
Yeah, I'm-
No, I know, but that's where his point's
You're
going.
supposed to be speaking about now and nothing else.
That's the point you're getting at.
Yes, it is, and
Yeah.
he's right.
Yeah.
But if I'm understanding this correctly, Greg is correct. But if I'm getting from Alex, but from his correspondence from the province, that what happens tonight, so if you vote to close that, then they make a decision to not finish St. Peter's Road, is that correct?
Exactly. And
Yeah,
and
so that's why that changes. So to me, that's why I think we have to
That wasn't my understanding.
Yeah,
in fact,
okay.
from who we-
and that's why we need Hooley here.
So the deferral's on the floor, Councillor.
Probably Thursday too, or
So, what's that?
probably be Thursday because we have other
Yeah, but
meetings.
the deferral's on the
How about
floor.
the soonest possible time?
Okay, all those in favor of the deferral, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Councillor Duran, yea or nay?
No, I'm not
Okay.
in favor of deferral.
Deferral has been defeated.
Okay.
Okay,
thank you.
so the question is back on the floor to reject the resolution from our April regular monthly meeting. Question's on the floor. The question was, hold on. The question was called by Councillor Ramsey. Question's on the floor. All those in favor?
Your worship, can I ask a question now that the deferral's off? Because we can only speak to the deferral, but I did have a question prior to the deferral.
On the original resolution?
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
So my comment the comment that I wanted to make was more around, I know, listen, I get the whole traffic issue on St. Peter's Road, I get that. But the difference is that the two roundabouts on the outside of this proposed one are going to be done with 4 exit points. It's only this one because of the commercial property that is exiting on Angus. So if you removed that Angus exit, okay, and had a roundabout the same as every other roundabout that's being built, then I don't think we're here. You think you're right. I think everything goes forward. But it's that exit on the Angus that's different from everyone else.
That's right.
And I think this is what's hurting this application. And this is what I don't support. Because again, yeah, anyways.
Okay. Councillor Akoff, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, just to confirm though too, I think we should still proceed with the quickest meeting we can with Mr. Hooley. I think that should continue on to address.
Said no.
The other issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Okay, questions
No,
on
we
the?
didn't say no to it. We didn't say no to a council meeting. We said no to a deferral.
No, to defer. Okay.
Is that correct, Your Worship?
Yes, that's correct. Mr. Kelly, can you confirm that? No was to the deferral, correct?
So just for
Yeah,
clarity.
no, but it was no to the deferral. That's the vote on 5 to 4
Yes, right.
against deferral.
Right, but just to be clear that part of that reason to defer was to discuss the motion and the options. Now that that's not going ahead,
Yeah.
then this is still need to be with Mr. Hooley.
Yeah,
Obviously, that's
if
already
this is
gone.
rejected.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so the resolution's on the floor. The question, now, are we ready to vote?
So a rejection?
Rejection, that's what it's to reject in order to facilitate road upgrades by the province to St. Peter's Road and construct a second means of access for the convenience store to and from Angus Drive be rejected.
But to reject is that to kill a future?
That's right.
It is, so I'm talking with the resolution.
Yeah.
So you approve. If you want
If you want to stop
a public meeting, you approve.
No.
That.
No, we're rejected.
You defeat
reject
this
it.
motion. You have to defeat this motion that's being.
In order to have another public meeting.
Well,
And then you'll have to
Okay.
read it out
So-
as a reject that.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
right.
So we're going to reject this.
Hey, no.
No, no.
It's on the floor.
To reject.
No.
You're gonna vote to reject this because you want another public meeting.
Yes.
So
I
you're not
don't
in
care. If we have
So you're not in
another meeting,
favor.
I'm gonna vote to approve
You're
this.
not in favor of the.
Again, the rejection is no different than Councillor Duffy than 2015. You
Okay.
voted down, and then the rejection, you voted for.
Okay, gotcha.
All those in favor, okay, of the rejection, please put your hand up. Put your hand, leave it up. Councillor Duran, yay or nay for the rejection?
I just want to make sure, I'm against this, so I want.
Yeah, vote in favor.
No, listen, Councillor Field, let him talk.
Okay.
You want to have a public meeting, right?
Is it yay or nay?
Well, I do not want this to move forward.
Okay, so you're voting in favor of the rejection, yay?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, those against, please put your hands up. Against the rejection.
So this is to have the public meeting?
No, this is to reject, this is to reject the,
Which would send it to a public meeting.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
the motion's defeated.
it is defeated.
It's defeated, it's over.
No, it was 5-4 to carry it.
Unless they come back with a new application.
Guys, just the 5-4 was to carry the rejection, so we rejected the application.
Right.
That's it. It's done. 5-4.
Yeah.
So there's no
So what
public
does that
meeting.
mean?
Well, Alex, that's up to Alex to work
I will
out.
have to at this stage defer to Mr. Hooley in regard to the, that reconsideration process, so,
Because we didn't vote. The other side didn't vote.
What do you mean we didn't vote?
Councilor McLeod didn't vote, I didn't vote.
Yeah, you voted in favor of it. You voted against the rejection, that's why it's a 5-4 vote.
You guys wanted the public.
I didn't
We
vote.
wanted the public meeting.
Yeah. So
They
who's
voted
the
against
four?
the public meeting.
Who's the vote, who's the four? McLeod,
McLeod, you, Bernard,
Right.
and Ramsey.
okay.
So
What does
Duffy,
that mean? Where do we sit now?
I'll defer to Mr. Hooley.
okay. That's it.
We're adjourned.
Next. No, wait, no. We got the other item on the agenda, affordable housing.
If council wants to get ready for the other meeting, which we can put it on the future.
Councilor Street, you wanted this back at
Don't
council.
say I didn't. I
You
didn't
wanted the
ask.
affordable housing.
No, you didn't ask.
Did he not ask?
No, I didn't.
This came from.
It did.
the-
No, I didn't, your worship.
Well, I remember you saying,
No,
no,
I
I did to
Came
council.
from
Point of
strategic.
order again.
Yeah.
Just wait, hey,
Seriously,
let's just have a seat, wait,
this is not something
No,
that's
no,
just not important. I apologize.
have a seat.
I didn't ask, I gotta go.
Yep, well, we're just trying to finish up here.
Finish up what?
What's left? We had another resolution.
The affordable housing, I had a point of discussion on the other.
Do we want to defer?
if you wish
Well,
to
if
put
they're,
together.
if he's leaving, they're talking.
Yeah.
No, I'm leaving, I got another commitment. And I didn't ask to put it on the agenda either.
Our next meeting is until 7, why aren't we finishing our agenda?
He's the one that asked for it
No,
here.
I didn't ask you, worship.
Yes, you did.
I'm getting tired of you saying that. I didn't ask for it to be put on the agenda.
This
Yes,
is
you did.
enough, guys. This
Councilor
is-
Ramsey was there. Councilor Ramsey was there. He's the chair of the meeting. He was chair of the meeting. Yeah, we discussed and then you asked to push table.
So we're not finishing our agenda?
We had a strategic priorities committee meeting and Mr. Kelly brought up amendments to the affordable accessible housing program and Councilor Tweedle said, push it to the council. Correct, Kevin?
Recommendation or anything?
Kevin?
There was a recommendation supposed to go to CAC this coming Friday, that the Affordable Housing Advisory Group.
No, Kevin, this is changed to the program. To the affordable and accessible housing program.
Yes, because he wanted to have all council.
He wanted all council. That's why it's on the agenda,
Mixed up
Councilor.
the two of them. Yes,
Oh, my God.
about the sliding scale.
Sticking up me.
But I'll tell you, there's gonna be a lot of people not happy with the safety issues they were looking to do on St. Peter's Road.
Okay,
You've got all kinds of subdivisions up there, you look at the Williams Road, there's 155 acres up there, and I'll tell you, you guys, now they shut that
You
down.
know, around
I didn't
there,
take the blame for it.
I'm not either.
you know, divider.
I wanted to bring
Well,
the information
the ones who voted against the public meeting, yeah, you take blame for it. That's what you
I think it's gotta go back to the province, and they gotta come back, they're the ones that
No,
didn't
no,
present the
no,
right
no.
information.
Yeah, no, they
Oh,
did.
yeah.
We just didn't, we didn't ask enough questions, they didn't elaborate. They did say it was a safety issue. I mean, but anyway, my thing is, I would here's the record. We take another place.
He is, that we should have closed the
he's gonna
That's
be here,
right.
because he's the one.
that night. So
Yeah, I didn't know, that's water under the bridge.
Council, Mike, Council Duff, you know what? Look, because of the situation, I'm gonna ask to defer that resolution when he's back here, because he's the one, Kevin
It's up
Ramsey,
there now.
well, he's the one that asked to defer it.
He just wanted to go to see it for a while.
That's all, that's
But
all.
I still think that, I still think that Mr.
Thank you,
Cooley
Darrell.
was basing his recommendations to us based on that we had finished to close that process. So I
Agreed.
still think that we should arrange a meeting
Well,
with
there's not
Mr.
enough
Cooley
information.
as
That's
soon
how
as
we're
possible
going
for him to give us options. So as Councilor Bernard says, that there still is the next option. So-
Mr. Kelly will
Are we
arrange
still
that.
live, Tracy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Kelly will arrange that, please,
I'll talk to Mr. Hoopers about what.
because we have to come back for the affordable accessible housing issue. We do have a meeting at 7 PM down at the Convent Center. We all have reserved seats for it. So please get there because it's the first of two meetings, right? One for Public Works and then there will be one, Councillor Duffy, there'll be one for planning. So I need a motion to adjourn.
Councilor McCabe already made the motion.
What's that?
Councilor McCabe already made the motion.
Oh, moved by who? Councillor McCabe, second by Councillor Ramsey. All those in favor? Councillor Drawn?
In favor?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The reality is, Tracy,